Hey. So this is Alive, and I didn't come on to talk politics. I just came on to talk and say hello. Kind of the community thing. So I think we're all struggling big time. So I came to show you that I'm struggling as well. I'm in my apartment in Israel. And hi. Nice to see you, Jimil and Neman, Deborah, Lizzie, hi. For those who are watching this, they might, I might post it later. Hey Louise and Rosh from Australia. I'm really just, I know that everyone's struggling, and I am too. Hey Parmi, thank you. Reina, Lynn, hey Kiva, everyone follow Kiva Fine. He's doing great work. He's a teenager. He lives in Israel. Follow him. It's good to get his perspective as well. Fiona, hey Vicky, Coffee Bean. Lots of people joining, and I'm just saying hello. The first few minutes, it's usually just to say hello. Hey, from Tucson, XX, and in my unpopular opinion, from Jerusalem. Yeah, Veggie Chick. God, the names are just like, I'm already smiling because of the names. So it's good to smile as well. Rach, songwriter, yes. It's stressful. Hey Kiva, keep it up. But you should be. I'm not gonna tell you when you should go to bed, but get to bed soon. Hey everyone. So I'm just gonna talk about what's going on with me. So I was actually meant to be getting up in the middle of the night for an interview with a large American broadcast, and that's not happening. And in a way, I'm a little relieved because it's really hard to talk. And I know that probably some of the things might have been about the politics and about what's going on with our government, what's going on with Hamas. I'm seeing a lot of shows, and it's very difficult because all I'm thinking about really are the people. I want to read you something. Okay, I think this is what just made me, instead of getting an early night because the show isn't happening, I was just going to go to bed, and then I read something, and I'm going to read it to you on my separate iPad here. So just give me a second. And it came across it's in Time magazine, and it's written by, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through it, but I'm going to try. Okay, it's written by John and Rachel Goldberg, Poland, of course, parents of Hirsch. And I'm going to read this to you because this is what's on my mind, and this is what's been on my mind for days. And I think it's more important than, is this a good deal? Is this a bad deal? Trump, Bibi, Mohammed, Sinwar. This is more important. Hey Norman, everyone also follow Norman Fried. He's putting out great content. I don't know Norman, but I've been following him, and also recommend that you follow him to get a good perspective. I'm going to read this to you. I'm going to try and get through it, and I'm not promising that I will get through it. I might kind of break down, but I'm going to try. My only son, Hirsch, was kidnapped from a music festival on October 7th, 2023, after having his dominant forearm and hand blown off. He was held captive, tortured, starved, and then, after 328 days, shot in the hand, his only one, shoulder, neck, and twice in the head, in a dark and airless tunnel in Gaza on August 29th, 2024. Hirsch's name had been on the list in July, who would have been released in a deal between Hamas and Israel, but that deal did not happen because decision makers did not want it to happen. And Hirsch, along with 5 other young people with whom he was being held hostage, are now all dead. My husband John and I, after having suffered more than 300 days of every parent's nightmare of utter and indescribable torment, continued advocating and pushing for the release of the remaining hostages in Gaza. We did not want anyone else to go through what we are and will continue grappling with for the rest of our lives. At this time, there are 98 hostages still in Gaza. The live hostages must come home to be physically and psychologically rehabilitated, and the deceased must be returned to have a proper and respectful burial. Finally, on Wednesday, the news came that a deal was reached and will begin to be implemented immediately. Over 200 messages flooded my phone. People seemed confused that John and I are relieved and happy that so many of our hostage community, with whom we feel like family, will finally be reunited with their loved ones. This does not mean that we are not in agonizing mourning and oozing with grief for our beloved Hirsch, who we buried 135 days ago. It means we can hold 2 truths. We can hold even more. Humans are fascinating creatures. We can experience a multitude of diverse feelings simultaneously. So we can experience suffering while still having the capacity to laugh. We can be longing for someone incapable of celebration. We can be weeping and resilient. We can be yearning and hopeful. What is essential to us at this moment is that we make sure this phase of the deal is the beginning of the end and not the end. Getting out 33 cherished human beings is critical, but there are still going to be 65 hostages left in captivity. This remains a microcosm of failure of all of humanity. The remaining hostages represent 23 different nations. They are Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, and Buddhists. The youngest is Kfir Bibas, who will turn 2 years old on Saturday, January 18th. And the oldest is Shlomo Mansour, who is 86 years old. They are both slated for being released in this first phase of the deal. Yet back in November 2023, they were also supposed to be released, as was my son Hirsch. But the deal broke down and now Hirsch is dead. I pray Kfir and Shlomo come home as planned. Alive and able to recover. In addition, the innocent Gazans who have suffered terribly since the Hamas attack on October 7th, 2023, also severely and critically need relief and recovery immediately. So this deal must happen to the very end, with everyone in the region finally able to quench our common desperate need for solace. While I remain ever optimistic and cautiously sanguine, a deal is not a deal until it is successfully completed. Godspeed to us all. Excuse me. I got through it. Barely. But I got through it. So, So, why did I read it? Because that's fucking life. And that's the important stuff. You know, Abraham Khamra reached out to me and he asked me, you know, sometimes we do collaborations, and he asked me to collaborate with him on something, and I couldn't bring myself to it today because I'm, you know. But I suggest you go to what he posted, because he talks about the division right now between us. And this is the conversation that we've all been having for such a long time. It's okay to have different opinions. It's okay to be torn right now. It's what makes us who we are. So, this right now is not weakness. This vulnerability that I'm sharing with you is something that we're all going through, and it's not a weakness. It's a strength. It's our humanity. And that's what makes us who we are, and we know who we are. And all the media and the brainwashing and the propaganda and the Gazan kids celebrating in the streets and the Fox News and CNN and NBC and CBS and Sky and all that stuff, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. What matters is that there are people on the ground working. The people on the ground working to get our people back. You can be angry and you can be pissed and you can think it's a bad deal and you can think it jeopardizes the entire of Israel and the Jewish community in the world and Western civilization, and yet, we've got to do this. Because if we don't do this, there'll still be war. And if we do this, there'll still be war. So we have to have trust right now, is that we can get our people back and deal with this shit afterwards. Because this is not before October 7th, this is after October 7th. And what that means is that I do believe that the IDF and the Mossad and this government and a center government and a left-wing government, it doesn't really matter which government, realize the existential threat in a very, very real way that is different after October 7th. And there will be a reckoning. But we can't worry about that now, because, and this is why I want you to watch what Abraham said. Imagine one of those hostages comes home and you have to look him in the eye, dead in the eye, and say, it wasn't worth it. I'm going to tell you something else. And again, I'm not ashamed to have you see me like this, because I don't consider it a weakness. I consider us showing our vulnerability one of the greatest strengths that we have. The emotion that we feel, the lust for life. So I'm going to tell you two other things that happened the day before yesterday. And I put this in a video. But I woke up to a very dear friend of mine who sent me a picture of the remnant of the ballistic missile, which is just humongous, and you probably saw the pictures, that landed a few houses down from her home near Jerusalem. And I was like, wow, fuck, wow. You know, you see the picture in the news, but then a friend writes to you, and a dear friend, and then she carried on with her day, and knowing my friend, full of life. So that was the first thing. And then, as you guys know, like with the advocacy that I've been doing, and quite a few people doing it, I've become friends with a few people in the Los Angeles community that are going through a nightmare, and all love and strength and support to everyone suffering in LA right now. But he wrote a note to a few people in a group, and it started like this. My beloved nephew is gone. His nephew, a 20-year-old, was one of the 5 soldiers that was killed in the Nahal 2 days ago in Gaza. That was the second thing. And we all know that this could be, and he's in LA, and he was on a plane. We're all going through this. It could be any one of us. His nephew, his beloved nephew, the kid that he helped nurture and grow into the fine man that he was, and I'm beginning to hear things about him and read about him. He's not here anymore. He was a soldier. So when I see the comments about, like, we can't stop because what does that mean to all the soldiers who have fallen, who have lost limbs? I don't know. I don't know. I think we're all confused, and we're all struggling, and we're all torn. And just as I read what the Hirsch family put out there, Rachel and John, you can hold all of those emotions. There's black and there's white, but we're in the gray. What Abraham said in his piece is unity, but it's not unity of opinion. You can have different opinions. You can have conflicting opinions inside you. That's humanity. Hold on to that. Because that really is what's going to get us out. That's really the difference between us and our enemies. And when I say our enemies, I don't mean Arabs or Muslims or Palestinians or Houthis, I mean the enemies of your humanity. Hold on to your humanity. Be kind to people. Be respectful to people. Be vulnerable with people. Reach out to people. There are families of hostages who, in a few days, God willing, when a hostage comes home, another family member is going to realize that their hostage member of their family is not coming home. Breathe for them. Do it for the families of the soldiers who are still there and who have lost their lives. Do it for the families of all of those who have succumbed to terror. Show unity in humanity. It doesn't mean that you can't have a different opinion. You can have different opinions. This is the hardest thing. So, yeah, I got emotional, and that's okay. I'm going to post this, and hopefully you guys can share it, the people who have been watching, so that so people can see that it's okay to be open and to show what you're feeling. I don't like a lot of what I'm seeing in the media, because what I'm seeing in the media is dehumanizing the subject matter, dehumanizing the people. Let's talk about people, not politics. I don't know how someone, and I was talking about this with a good friend of mine who's a big advocate that you probably all know, and I won't tell you who it is because I don't know that she'd appreciate it. Like, all these people who there's a news bit, and then everyone jumps on and pretends that they're the news suddenly, and they don't know shit. They don't know what's going on. They're just regurgitating and regurgitating and regurgitating. There's one or two people in this space that I really listen to when it comes to the news, because they're very connected to people on the ground who are really in the know. World Peace Media, I don't know if the deal is done. No one knows. It changes every second. And then all of a sudden the deal falls through, and is it our leader or is it them? I don't know. A lot of people don't know. We have to put our faith in our military, in our intelligence, in our leadership, which is a whole contentious debate, which I don't want to talk about or think about, and world leaders as well, and Qatari leaders as well, and Turkish leaders as well. Who gives a fuck? We've got to bring our people back, because when they come back, we can't look them in the eye as human beings and say to them, hey, you weren't worth it. I can't do that. And that's what Abraham Khamri said. And he's right about that. We have to fight for life. We have to fight for our families. We have to fight for our friends. And we're all confused as fuck. Johnny, are you on the call? Johnny Daniels. I kind of spoke about you when I said there are one or two people that I listen to who have integrity and who I believe, because it's not just regurgitating news, but it's coming from a reliable source. Johnny's one of them. Johnny, let me know if you'd like to come on and talk about this, and I'll stay on. Yes, World Peace Media, we are negotiating with terrorists. Yes, we are. Right now, we are negotiating with terrorists. We have to. And Jet said with Ronit, he speaks with heart. Yes, Johnny speaks with heart, but he speaks with truth. Johnny, you let me know. Einav Avizemel, who I'm getting to know, who is a voice, fierce voice. Einav, you should follow her. I don't agree with everything that Einav says. Our politics are not the same, but I love her to bits. Beast mode, Einav. We all have different opinions. We can all get along. Johnny, I don't know how to invite you, but if you can invite yourself, that might be better, and we can have a chat. Just know that I don't want to talk politics or anything. I want to talk about humanity. And I'm doing this just for us to feel community, I don't know. No one's doing it. You know, it's too many people fucking talking about the news and not about what we're all going through. So, Johnny, if you can invite yourself, I'll be able to join you or bring you on as I blow my nose after crying my eyes out in front of billions of people. I don't know how to. Oh, hold on. I think I do know how to get you to join. Johnny. Speak to each other. You don't need to speak about the news. Speak about what you're feeling and the news. I'm waiting for Johnny to join. Hey, Bubba.
Hey, how's it? I'm in the snow here in New York City, so my it's a bit too cold for a live, but I have to say that I appreciate you and I appreciate all of your words and everything you do and the heart that you put into all of this because it means so much. It really
Nah,
does.
let's not talk about me, mate. That's not. Well, thank you, but yeah, I'm not good at these things. But thank you. I'm glad that you were on because I don't know if you saw what I was talking about from the beginning, but I actually read I read a letter that Rachel and John put out about the situation right now, and it wasn't coming from a place of news. It was coming from a place of human beings, people, and something that bothers me, Johnny, we don't need to talk about this. Is like every time I open my feed, I just have lots and lots of people talking about the news and regurgitating news. And I had said there's only a couple of people that I listen to as a real source of, with integrity, and that's you. And that's not putting down other people.
Of
Everyone's
course.
trying to fight the good fight. Um, but not enough people are just talking about what we're going through, and that's what I wanted to talk about. And even you, I don't know how personal you want to get, but I got pretty personal. I was tearing up, and I'm fine with it. I think it's
Yeah.
important to show what we're going through. How are you doing?
In all honesty, the last few days have been quite difficult. It's been quite difficult to really wrap my head around what's going on. I think, like all of us, I'm slightly torn with what's happening. There isn't any question that more than anything, I desperately want the hostages home. And ultimately, I think what's going on is the right thing. The difficulty that I feel is this unbelievable price that we're paying. And you see the images, like seeing the fact that the Fogel family's killers are going to be released. These are people who all of us, our hearts broke, and to see that these horrendous people being reached out, and that was difficult. It's been an emotional roller coaster as much as that, as in attempting to understand that we're, between a rock and a hard place, and this is just a horrendously difficult time. And I'm I think my biggest fear is how people are going to react to the unfortunate fact that a lot of the people that they were hoping would come back won't come back alive.
This this is the point
And that
that
scares me a lot.
yeah,
That scares me a lot.
yeah, and
It really does.
yeah, and that's not talking politics or what should we do. That's just like the feeling of, if we take this route, it's bad. That route is bad. Even if we're getting a hostage back, it's good, but it's bad. And let's not even talk about the soldiers and their families, who's and and rightfully so. And this is the thing that I was trying to say is like that rightfully so are devastated that we're caving into a deal which is imperative to make because their lives are lost in vain. And it's okay to feel all of these things.
Yeah,
It's okay to feel torn. We should be feeling torn. If we weren't feeling torn, we would be scum of the earth.
100%. 100%. And you're right. And I think that this is the thing that people are having a hard time wrapping their heads around. It's this difficulty in understanding that it is a horrible deal. There isn't any question. It's a
Awful,
horrible deal. But
awful deal.
the question is, and people say, well, we should have held out and there'd be a better deal. We should have done this. We should have done that. The truth is that there isn't a better deal in the pipelines. There isn't an opportunity. It doesn't look like for anything better. this notion of wiping out Hamas isn't really going to work as much as we want it to, and it's a very, very, very difficult situation. Again, I think the solace is that we are going to get people home, and this more than anything is what needs to happen.
It, it,
We
it,
really need these people home.
we need them home. We owe it to ourselves to get them home. And we are all aware of the price, and none of us like it. But at the same time, if we don't get them home, it's kind of like, I mean, I don't know if you were hearing as I was talking about what Abraham Hamra put out, and he asked me to collaborate on it, and emotionally I couldn't. I might, but I couldn't at the time. But he said you can't look when one of these hostages come home, and you have to kind of, I close my eyes and I try and visualize it, like when one of these hostages come home, one of these people come home. What you know we're in touch with some of the hostage families, and we're trying to work with them to, will we be able to look them in the eye and say, hey, you weren't worth it. You're not worth the deal. I wouldn't be able to do that. And if I'm not able to do that and we're not able to do that, we're going to have to deal with the consequences afterwards. And but
Again,
the
look,
purpose,
I'm not sure it's saying that they weren't worth the deal. Again, like, from the flip side of pushing against this deal, I understand also the perspective of the fact that look, we're releasing very high level terrorists. People will die as a result of this deal, right? So
tell people
how,
about it. So it's people that don't know, tell people about well, let's switch to news for just a second and get back
I
to the humanity,
I
but
mean, look,
just tell people.
the difficult part of this deal is obviously what we're releasing in regards to that. I mean, I'm here in the States and just watching the news here in America, and the headlines here are prisoner swap,
Yeah, it's
right?
ridiculous.
I saw that and literally almost broke the TV. Prisoner swap, right?
Yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
talking about switching,
Murderous.
a baby for literal murderers, and a lot of these people that will be released have blood on their hands, and these are high level terrorists. In the first phase of the deal, where we're looking for about 33 people released, there's going to be about 1,000 Palestinian prisoners, many of whom are terrorists, released as well. And like I said, the Fogel family, which is a beautiful family, who were murdered in their beds, the terrorists who murdered them are going to be released. And this is a very, very difficult thing to deal with.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know, Eitan, but a law was changed after the Gilad Shalit deal.
of
The
course.
law was
That
changed
we
in
have to. We
regard.
need to know the list of the people who are being released. Of
Correct, the list
course.
of people.
But tell
So we have,
everyone. Tell everyone. Yeah.
48 hours we're going to have to see this list as soon as it's published. And that is going to be very, very heavy. And this is the tricky part of this is and I understand the opposite perspective, because just the same as you'll say to a hostage family now, like, the price wasn't worth it. How do you tell the next families who are going to be
Exactly.
dealing with a terror attack? Like,
It's
it's
impossible.
like,
It's just
think
impossible.
think how Gilad Shalit feels right now, right?
Yeah.
That Sinwar was released because he was taken captive. Like,
Hmm.
it's lose lose.
Lose
But at
lose.
the end of the day, it's a good thing that this deal is going ahead. We need it to happen.
Yeah.
We need it to happen. We need to get whoever we can home whilst we can, and just hope and pray that as a result of this, we're able to have a level of closure. And the hopefulness is also that somehow we get back in the war afterwards. A lot's going to depend on the United States of America and how Trump deals with this situation and Witkoff deals with this situation. And it's a big unknown. It really is a big unknown.
I think. I think you're saying everything that I feel. We're completely on the same page. One of the things that I'm trying to get people to focus on is we can talk and we can talk and we can talk and we can talk, but this trauma, and they know what they're doing. Our enemies know what they're doing. They are dividing us. This is psychological warfare, and they're doing it brilliantly. And the way to push back is to lean into each other, to say to each other, it's okay to be torn, to agree to disagree, and to show up for each other anyway, and to get our people back and say, you know what, with the Jewish people, we've got one of the best militaries in the world. We're smart as fuck. And this is not before October 7th. After October 7th, everything changed. And I think that we have to have faith in the leaders that we trust in. And I'm not just saying that, I'm not talking the political leaders, the leaders in our community, whoever they are, that the reckoning will come. We have to get our hostages back. We need to get our people back.
Absolutely. I mean, again, the tricky part is obviously the price that we're paying for it.
Of course,
But
that's
this
the
is
rub.
the unfortunate position that we're in, and there's just nothing we can do about it. And like you said, we have to have some level of hope and faith that we move forward as a result of this, and that these people get their comeuppance, the terrorists who are released, and again, it's a very very difficult time. It's a time, and please God, the agreement will be signed on tomorrow by the Israeli government, which means that we'll see the start of the deal,
Please,
and the hostages released only on Sunday, maybe even pushed till Monday. But with those initial releases, these are going to be, again, we're not going to see the same images that we saw last time, of the hostages and the Red Cross and all of this stuff. Hopefully, there's going to be censorship and this won't be shown, because these people, again, almost 500 days in captivity. These are going to be very, very, very difficult and challenging times. And
and we need to be there for them, and we need to be more responsible for them. So if it's difficult for you, just try and imagine, and I'm saying this to the listeners, try and imagine what everyone is going through, and have more heart, be more empathetic. And we're in for some very rough days, for some very rough months, for some very rough years, and we have to come together as a community. And those are not empty words. And you know what I'm trying to do, Johnny.
oh, I
And
know, I know.
you're doing it too. So, and a
And I
lot of
think I
people
think the other
are.
thing as well is that we have to also get our expectations as well in place,
Sure.
in as much as that also we have to leave them alone. And this is a very very important point that there's a lot of interest of people as to what happened to them, how it happened, what did they go through. None of our fucking business. Excuse my
Absolutely,
French. None
absolutely,
of our business.
absolutely.
We're going to want to see pictures of them. Well and good. If it wants to share, they'll share. Absolutely none of our business. And there's a lot of questions and a lot of these kind of morbid things. This is we need to give them every single little bit of distance that they deserve, and also understand that however much we feel that this is us, this isn't us,
No,
right? The hostages and their families, they have a tight unit. They need to be given the space that they absolutely deserve, and we need to be standing at the side, giving them all the heart and love that we can from afar.
like like a good community does. And we have to put the sensationalism, and we need to be able to differentiate between what we're seeing on social media, on the news. And this is what I was saying at the beginning, where you weren't on. That stuff doesn't matter. The stuff that matters are the people who are really suffering. That we need to put in the front, and for a long time. This is reality. And I
Absolutely.
think that you're right. People need to start understanding that the situation that we're in, it's not this is real life. I was talking about people
Yeah.
that just the other day, a missile fell on their house. A friend of mine lost his nephew. Uh, People that we know, the hostage families, soldiers who are dying. It's this stuff is. We need to remember that.
Yeah.
Just remember that, people.
And
Tony,
the
you're
only
freezing.
I
I
am
feel
pretty
bad that
cold.
you're.
It's all good, but
I
I'm going
feel
to say
bad.
one last thing before I jump off.
Yeah, sure. Of
As you know, I do a lot of work with Holocaust survivors, and
course.
yesterday I was with an incredible 105-year-old lady, who survived Buchenwald, the most beautiful lady. And you sit with people like that, and you again, I think the hope that I have from meeting with survivors gives me also a huge hope that even through all the difficulties that the hostages have been through, with the love and the decency and the respect that we're all going to give them, they're going to have an opportunity to build again and to live again. But we need to be able to give them that heart and that space and that love, and that includes distance. And there are professionals, and they will be able to build and to live again, please God. But we need to give them that space and love, and please God, it starts. And this is what we need more than anything. Eitan, I love you, brother. Thank you so much. I am way too cold. I'm going inside.
Love you,
Thank
man.
you for having
Speak
me
to
on.
you soon.
Take
Yeah,
care.
you got it. Bye bye. Hey, everyone. Just if you don't follow Johnny, I can't imagine that you don't. Please do. He's one of the good guys. He's doing the work. Selfless. Not for show. He's doing it. Um, okay, look, I don't know about you guys, but I feel better for this. I feel better for this. I feel better that I came on. Um, it was rough at the beginning. Um, as you know, I got a little emotional. And if you've just joined, I actually would like you to watch this video, which I will post. And unfortunately, I didn't go through the comments. Um, and the comments won't be on the video when I post it because Instagram loses everything with the comments. But I see that everyone's been writing, and just be there for each other, and be there for the hostage families, and be there for the soldiers' families, and be there for each other. This is a difficult, difficult, difficult time, and it's okay to say so. It's okay to have those conflicting thoughts. Try to focus less on the minute by minute news because it's maddening and you cannot control it. But what you can control is your soul. Okay. I'm a huge fan of Prince, as quite a few of you know. And Prince once said, um, don't let the internet control you. You have to control the internet. And I think that a lot of the mania is because there's a lot of people who are expressing and expressing and expressing stuff, and it can be overwhelming and it can be damaging up here. I saw a couple of people here. Renee, I've been seeing you writing, and Joe Paul, my buddy. I saw Lee Trink was on here as well. So I have a few friends who have been coming on, and Rima, who's a friend from way back who I haven't seen in many years. So if you guys want to just like, if you're here to say hi, so I can quickly before we go away, I can see who's here. Brammy Miami, who I've met a couple of times, is here as well. So just maybe before I say goodbye, it'd be nice to just see you. I feel much better um, for having shared, and maybe you can too with your friends. Hey, yes, Maya, Rima, that Rima, she's over here. Maya, the art pilgrim, she's great. She has an art uh, Instagram that you should follow. She's wonderful. Um, okay, I never know how to end these things, but oh, hey, I wore this shirt. Hi, hi, hi. Hi. That's us. And don't you forget it. Love you all. Stay strong. Stay human. Reach out to each other. Agree to disagree. Show up for each other the next day. And um, and be there for everyone who's really, really, really suffering on a very personal level. Be there for them because they need it, and it could be any one of us. Laila Tov.